were young, and they would say, I'm mad. Now I'm here talking, and I'm not alone. But it's really very exciting, this new technology, and how far we are going to use it to help our society, to disseminate ideas to different people, and to be able to be exposed to some important aspects and discussions. I really honor you, and I'm also seeing my friend from Bulisa. We have been meeting on radio stations, and I look at him in that form. My political affiliation maybe is not very viable. Mine is a bit unique. I'm Mufudiki. Mufudiki means that. So it is very original.
Is it a party?
So that we look at issues as they are on the ground, so that I don't have anything borrowed, but we have similarity.
Mufudiki means pressure creator.
Okay.
And otherwise, we are in a situation where we must be very assertive, because the situation is not very polite to us, and we can't accept it to be polite also, if I use that word, politeness. And it is going to be real an interesting program, and it is very challenging, of course, because of the expectation. You don't know how much is expected, and I think we shall really benefit a lot, learn from each other, and people will learn from us. Except I don't know how many people are watching this program on roughly.
We don't know. We are going to find out, because it's
we are
now
not yet
6
on
o'clock.
air. We are going now on air. We are still discussing.
But usually the audience is always how many and where, so the location of the group you are communicating with matters in your expectations. So I'm still wondering whether we are talking to the Bunyoro in the diaspora, or whether there are some people who are watching us from different countries.
Mainly,
First of all Bunyoros in UK, USA, South Africa, everywhere are watching you. Then many Ugandans, especially those who follow me, are going to watch you. I think Ivan will tell you that when the program is abrupt and people don't know, we have a minimum of 1,500 viewers. When it is known, it's even, Ivan, does it go to 3,000 or 2,000?
Yeah, it can go to 3,000. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the audience.
And there's a lot of people who view it afterwards.
Yeah. So, okay, and this radio's viewership goes up to 18,000. Yes, 18,000 people.
Okay.
But now you can know the type of audience you are.
And sometimes we are rebroadcasting, is it Masindi and Hoimba, by some of the radio stations there. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
So this one,
I had someone who was commenting about the program, and he was like saying someone had used very good Runyoro. I don't know whether sometimes you use Runyoro or it is purely English.
No, I use when it is the BKDA program, I use Runyoro only.
Okay.
Now this one we are going to mix. But when you are talking, because
you are reaching your audience, your people is who you are talking to. Yeah. Others will adjust.
With your audience.
Na nyoro ni mbaza
kwenda kubaza proverbs zorunyoro.
And Kasigwa, Nyoro Rugungu, talk to your audience.
Ndeka nkoruga ko byandu anyitrimani nkubaza rujongo.
Okay, we shall see.
Okay, it's 2 minutes past. I'm going to start with a bit of music so that people gather around. Then we will start. Okay?
All right, thank you.
So, all right.
Nabakutunda byobuhangwa bya bunyoro nabombarumbire akaire kaikire balirumbire bakutwara butwara ebyabaire mu byafaayo nitubisoma mu byafaayo bitwasomaga nibisikiriza dora bihoireho bunyoro bagisokondoire muno bunyoro kayafoka kisonsogoro bagichenche kwire bagisokondoire bagichenche kwire bagichenche kwire bagisokondoire bagichenche kwire akaire kaikire tulinde gebyaitu ebyo buhangwa byaitu tulinde gebyaitu obwire bwikire tulinde gebyaitu ebyo buguda byaitu tulinde gebyaitu kuruga kara na kara bunyoro tukaba tuli bamani kuruga kara na kara bunyoro tukaba tuli nkwatangabo waheisage kitinisa nibatweta bekitinisa itwe tukaba bamani nibatweta bamani muleke kwenda bya lero nimuita bya nyenkya awengera ya lero no hayensi yawe bunyoro muleke kwenda bya lero nimuita bya nyenkya awengera ya lero no hayensi yawe bunyoro bunyoro bagichenche kwire bagisokondoire bagichenche kwire bagichenche kwire bagisokondoire bagichenche kwire akaire kaikire tulinde gebyaitu ebyo buhangwa byaitu tulinde gebyaitu obwire bwikire tulinde gebyaitu ebyo buguda byaitu tulinde gebyaitu akaire kaikire tulinde gebyaitu ebyo buhangwa byaitu tulinde gebyaitu obwire bwikire tulinde gebyaitu
Akaire Kaikire. Welcome one and welcome all. It's TGM Radio UK and we are here with a new show to come your way each and every Saturday. The show is called Changing Mindsets and Our Political Skills. And you might have heard that song there in the Bunyoro language, saying Bunyoro vajichencheire or something like that. My Bunyoro is not very good, so Mr. Birija will correct me. But yes, I think the song sets a tone for the show. But on this show, as I said, it's a political show, the first of its kind on TGM Radio UK. We have a panel of four, including myself as the host. First and foremost, Mr. Stephen Birija. We have Mr. Godwin Kasigwa, Angalia. We have Mr. Geoffrey Beeraheru, Abooki. Beeraheru, Abooki, and others who are on the Zoom who might participate as we go along. But these three gentlemen with me are the main panelists. Like we said, the title is Changing the Mindset and Our Political Skills. And the topic is Wasting a Good Crisis, the case of NRM and opposition parties in Bunyoro. So with that, I will ask our panelists to introduce themselves. Mr. Birija being a stable, will almost be a co-host here. He will come last. So we start off with the guests. Let me start off with Mr. Geoffrey Beeraheru Abooki. Let us know and the public know who you are, what you do, and anything that you want us to know.
Thank you so much. I'm Beeraheru Geoffrey Abooki. I'm a Bunyoro and a Seke by clan. You know, we have clans here. We also have pet names. That's why they have used the book. It is very, very important. I'm married to one wife, Justin Beeraheru. We have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. And we have been married now for 27 years. I joined this institution of marriage when I was still young. I was 25 years, but we are still going on well. And on the side of the profession, I'm a teacher by profession. Around here, I'm called headmaster of Omwana. I was the first one to produce a kid in my school who got 6 in 6 by that time. 6 in 6 was a real miracle at that time. And they gave me the name of Headmaster Omwana. But I had got ideas of running private schools, and I got those ideas from Birija, Stephen Ateenyi. I one time met him for 4 hours, and those 4 hours that we met, they really brought a transformation in the area of education, to the extent that after some time I earned that name of Headmaster of Omwana. Now currently I'm going into something new. I'm going to be contesting for the Member of Parliament Hoima West on an independent ticket, and I'm called Omufudiki. I'm privileged to meet Birija when I'm embarking on the Okufudika approach in politics, and I look forward to the transformation. What happened, and I earned the name of Headmaster of Omwana, I will again earn it, this time being assertive. Okufudika in our language means being assertive, especially to people who are seated wrongly. There are people who sit occupying a very big space and they don't want to give position to any other. So once you get any slight opportunity to put your one foot and one section of your body on the chair, then you begin pushing slowly until he realizes that you also want to sit. And then you can be looking at him with a very bad face to show him that really your sitting pattern is not good. I'm also a committed Christian. People here, they are called Barokole. I'm a committed Christian. So that one is also very, very important in my life. Teaching, committed Christian, and now the political aspect. Those are very, very, very fundamental. And it is important that we are coming to have this discussion, especially when Uganda has finished 58 years of independence, and we are remaining with only a few years to almost go into the time of colonialism. You know, the colonials were here for 70 years. We are going for 52, and we can be able to compare whether we have really achieved anything different, whether we chased away the whites and only replaced them with the black whites, if that was to work. But otherwise, that could be a topic for another day. I'm very impressed to be here, and I look forward to hearing and learning new things. Thank you so much. Otherwise, here is always my best meal is meat and millet. So I know there you are very, very disadvantaged as far as our meals are concerned. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Geoffrey. So, Mr. Godwin Kasigwa Angalia, over to you. Introduce yourself. Let us know what we haven't known so far by just looking at you.
With you in this meeting. Good evening, viewers. Mambo, watoto wa Afrika, abana bamuka, mwasibo muta, Beeraheru olunyoro lutandike kubaburabura. Ite tuli hano, tuli muka, amabara menyo Godwin Kasigwa, Angalia, Hakiki. Ndi mwana nzarwa ya Bulisa hano, Bulisa district. Ndi Mukwonga, amwe Mukwonga by clan, and the resident in Bulisa district. I'm a social worker. My family has a background, of banking. From institution, I went into black microfinance as a loan officer, then doing politics. I've been a NEC member or National Executive Committee member of the Democratic Party for the last 10 years. I joined a new party called National Unity Platform, NUP, this one, the one which is making people to have a sleepless night this year actually. And I'm part of coordinating team in BUNYORO. I contested for Member of Parliament 2016. I did go through and I did give up. I'm joining the race again in this election, that is 2021 election, for the same position, a Member of Parliament, Birija constituency. Birija, this is the constituency. 6% of oil and gas in the country. It is a rural constituency, but very rich in terms of resources, natural resources. I'm grateful that with Honorable Chairman Stephen Birija, and I'm happy to be on this radio, a new program on GFC. Thank you so much. I was told the moderator at least how to do about please, you see, we have leaders who don't position. Leaders who behave as if they're silent, who are neutral, and yet that gives an upper hand, actually helps Terminator to continue pushing you as you remain without public services being delivered, as hospital remain with no drugs. As I say, floods in Mulisa. We have floods in Mulisa. But it was only people which came up for help. That was 3 months back. So unless we elect who can speak when it's quoted, and that's what's lacking in Europe. We don't have some leaders, some oligarchs are not consistent, they cannot stand on their own, they cannot stand on our position as electors. Nikyokurura now abekulembeze baitu amafuta galimu baitu tumanyire oil revenue so far collecting zinga sente zaitu za oil revenue. Ekyo omuntu kumanya all those details in oil and gas sector. I'm in that business. There's a lot of hidden agenda in that business. Unless we elect leaders who know what to do and who can stand with the people. Ekyo nikyo ndimu omwana wanyu wabunyoro. Nkurora ekibira kigenda. Nkurora itaka. The land in Kasigwa where there will be CPF, Central Processing Unit of oil. Those people were not compensated. As I speak now, government, what it did was to put a case against those people. Can you imagine putting a case to a person because he has refused to give you land?
Okay,
He has refused to give you
Mr. Kasigwa.
So, yes, in summary.
Because we're still in introduction, we will get into the juice of that.
Exactly. In summary, my agenda is people's agenda.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Godwin, Kasigwa, Angalia. Dear viewers, we want to apologize. I think Godwin's line is not so clear. The connection is not the best, but we shall carry on as best as we can. So over now to Mr. Stephen Birija, who is the third panelist we have, and also the brains behind this whole show. Yes, he's basically the brains behind the show. So over to you. Let him introduce himself and tell you what he does and how it came to be to reach this point.
Thank you very much, Ivan, my host, my engineer, and my mentor in various ways when it comes to scientific work, presentation of this program. Viewers, first of all, let me begin and appreciating of some wonderful people I can see here. Kiza Wilson, Waugungu, Katmwesige Crispus, Kale Linda Donna, Josephine Nyakato, after a very long time, Galaxy SB, I don't know who that is. Fortunate Ahumuza, my friend. Brian Hangi, oh, big man. Baguma Charles Carl, thank you for coming. Atwoki, Angalia Godwin, our panelist, Honorable to be. Ahuniriza James Davies, my friend, great friend, Beeraheru Geoffrey, and all others who are yet to join us. I welcome you. I want to begin by really expressing my sincere gratitude and appreciation for your response to a very, very short notice that we gave you when we conceived this idea. Well, this idea for this program, changing mindset, and how the opposition could be missing or wasting a good crisis, or how the incumbent government could have failed to take advantage of the crisis in Bunyoro, was conceived as a result of continuous consultations and concerns expressed by people back home and in diaspora. Why did we think about this? Bunyoro, much as it is so central and it holds a very integral part in Uganda's politics, happens to be, unfortunately, at the same time, or ironically, a place that is much neglected, much disregarded when it comes to the politics of our country. You find that a very quick survey of Bunyoro reveals you a total sense of hopelessness, a sense of resignation, and almost a near state of fatalism, where people seem not really to know what to do. They are in a state of confusion, not know where to go. So when I heard of this idea of changing the mindset, it was purely because I believe the problem begins from our internal weaknesses, domestic weaknesses. Our own failing seem to be principally the main cause of that sense of neglect. And that's why I came up with that topic or theme that we are going to serialize. There are so many questions that we stated in the introductory note that we sent out. But that does not mean we're going to discuss everything today. This program will be serialized. That topic alone may be discussed for 4 weeks, because we shall be here every Saturday. So we are welcoming everybody. We are inviting everybody to come in, give us proposals. If you want to be one of the panelists in the next program, please don't hesitate. Just send me a message or send Ivan. And we are encouraging also ladies to come in. For example, next time I'm actually thrilled to see girls like Nyakato, women like Nyakato, ladies like Atuhura Susan coming up, and I'm trying to appeal to them, whoever knows them, whoever can talk to them, so that in the next program they are the ones to be panelists, that we hear from the ladies' side. What are they saying? What do they think about Bunyoro? What do they have to present for us? what are their intentions for trying to contest for political seats in the region. So this program, I don't want to say is non-partisan. I want to say is inclusive. It's all inclusive. Each part comes with, each party comes with its own ideas, and I believe that it is a hybrid of these ideas, cross-pollination of ideas that can lead to advancement of our region or getting it out of the total quagmire that we seem to be in. So we are inviting everybody. I invited those from the yellow party, the red party, the blue party, the independents, the green party, but those who avail themselves are the ones today that happen to be here. We are not discriminative, we are not exclusive, and we are not hostile to any party. But what we want is to debate as mature people and have a win-win situation. So thank you very much. My name is Stephen Birija. You know me very well. I've been on this program for quite a lot of time. And lastly, I wish to appeal to all the panelists or members to be free. If you want to use Bunyoro, please use Bunyoro, use whichever language that you think can be accessible to your constituents. Because the purpose of this program is not to speak to ourselves. The purpose of this program is to speak to as wide an audience as possible, because we want knowledgeable electorates, we want knowledgeable democracy, we want a devolved democracy, involved democracy, participatory democracy. That's when we can have better governance in our region. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen Birija Ateenyi. Now, going to the juice of the matter, the crux of the matter, are changing mindsets and our political skills. First of all, let us break these two issues. We have two issues. There's the mindset and political skills, which by the topic, we assume that these are lacking or inadequate. So explain to us, Mr. Birija, what you mean by mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Ivan and all other viewers, when we talk of mindset, by mindset is meant the state of mind, the mind frame, the mentality somebody has, or what you would call the general disposition, in summary, attitude and behavior. What informs the actions of the people, or of an individual or a particular group, either as a polity, community, as a society. What determines the way they behave? That's what we mean by mindset. Mindset can be proactive or reactionary. That you have a mindset that always believes in being prepared in advance before you are confronted with a situation. There are those who behave like fire brigade. They are only active when they are in trouble. Yes, but effective people normally have proactive mind.
Okay. If I may interrupt you, there are people who say or who think that their vote doesn't change anything, or people who think politics is for those people. I don't want to get involved. Is that what you mean by mindset?
I'm coming to the politics. Yeah, I mean, well, if it is politically, that means that his mindset has been tuned to believe that maybe politics doesn't matter, or his mindset is informed by ignorance or misinformed by ignorance, not knowing what the subject matter he's supposed to be involved in means. Okay. So, you know, mindset, or in English language, when we are talking about sense, meaning of something, what something means to somebody, we are referring to 5 senses. How does somebody view an idea? How does somebody hear about an idea? How does somebody smell? How does somebody taste an idea? How does somebody feel about an idea? So the 5 senses normally determine our mindset, and they also inform our attitude, how emotionally we react. So that's what I mean by mindset. Okay. And those skills are very important. If you look at, I was some time back, I was looking at this employment agency, REED. Do you know that employment agency called REED?
Yes.
REED. Mm-hmm. I think it is the largest employment agency in the world. They did a survey to find out what determines employers to recruit people. Is it skills? Is it how much science you know? Is it how much IT you know? Is it how much engineering you know? They found out that 96% of employers world over consider mindset above skills. So in other words, it's not enough for BUNYORO to have engineers being sponsored by government to go and work in petroleum. Like somebody was telling me the other Saturday that they have trained very many engineers, they have trained very many administrators who are working in oil and gas from BUNYORO. You are misled. But what mindset do they have? Slave mindset, master mindset, political mindset, and so on. Because you can be an engineer and you are used just like a tool. Does a spanner do anything if it is not used? So an enterprising mindset, a political mindset, is the one which causes change, as we shall see. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Secondly, when we talk about political skills, we mean being able to appreciate the subject matter of politics, to appreciate what is meant by being political. Because, for example, many people in BUNYORO in particular are suffering just because they do not understand the concept of politics. You yourself, you have been here hosting me on BKDA. I think you have seen boundaries being drawn for us. Our sponsors saying that don't talk about politics in BKDA, which is a very, very absurd situation. Because what is politics? You understand?
Yes.
Because politics, as I was explaining, comes from the word polis. The noun polis simply means an organized society. A highly organized, the highest level of organized society is what we call polis.
Yes.
Then from there, that word polite means community. Community or society. And community means friendship. People coming together in a relationship of friendship. That's what polite means. So polis, an organized society, and polite means society. So when you talk about polite, you are meaning community. So politics, it is polis plus that suffix ECS, X. X means associated with. So politics is activities associated with community, with society. It's not about elections. It's not about presidents. It's not about MPs. Politics is essentially things that concern society. And in Greek, they use the phrase ta politica. Ta politica means community thing, something affecting community. Now, when we talk about who practices ta politica or who practices politics, he is called the polite. The word polite. Polite simply means citizen, and plural for it is politae. Now, why do they use why do they use the adjective polite? Polite means that you are civil. You are civil. You are civilized. In other words, you can coexist with other people. Mm-hmm. You are human. That's what it means. So if you say you are not a politician, then you are saying you are a beast or a god or a ghost. So anybody who says is not a politician, that's why they call them imbeciles. That's why they call them idiots, because they are saying they can't associate with community. So once you live outside community, you see human. That's why we talk about civic, means public. So the moment you mention that word, that I'm not political, I hate politics, then you know that you are declaring that I'm not human, I'm an idiot, I'm an imbecile, I'm foolish. I'm not fit to be in community. That's what it means, because essentially politics means community. So you understand. So we need to change that mindset, because once you say you are not a politician, then you are saying you are not responsible. Then the mindset of irresponsibility is what kills us. We leave things to other people. Then good people leave politics to bad people. And the moment you say, I'm a Christian, I can't be in politics, then you are trying to say the devils can go on.
Yes.
So in most cases, we are victims of our mindset. Then we start blaming other people. So I hope you understand what I mean by mindset skills. Understanding concepts and what they stand for. Understanding concepts, what we understand for. So unless our people start investing in political enterprise, because civic enterprise means mobilizing community. And once a business enterprise means producing goods for the welfare of community, that's the aspect of politics. Intrapreneurship, which is organizing an organization internally, is also politics. So the biggest problem we have with our region is people not understanding concepts and being fooled by elites. And those people who come around because they want to remain alone, they want to dominate, they also tell you, don't join politics. It's a dirty game. How can talking about Oburungi Bwensi be a dirty game? Because politics is Oburungi Bwensi. People's welfare. Are you seeing that? Inyo abanyoro. Politics eraba emanyisa Oburungi Bwensi. Ne emanyisa abantu kubaho kurungi, kuba n'emihanda, kuba n'amasomero amarungi, kuba n'amarwaro amarungi, kwekwatiramu obe kurungi, kuterana hamu, mukakora mu cooperatives. Hati ogietota that again. That is the challenge we have. Then secondly, the mindset we have which kills real politics is anti-politics. Anti-politics is when you do things which are opposite moral politics. That is the Machiavellian politics. Selfish people who are egoistic, they dominate community. Those people are called elites. Elites who work for power control, wealth control, and domination of others. They are elites, a minority of people. And kumanye bintu tubyetegereza makusu, because people understand things wrongly, they think elites are educated people. Elite is not a word which means an educated person. Elite means a minority of people who control wealth, who are privileged, who have power, and they dominate the others. That's what elite means. It is different from intellectual. Intellectual is a person who is truly educated, works for the common good, and uses practical wisdom to promote the welfare of society. An intellectual is not uncivil. An intellectual does not undermine people. An intellectual, a true politician cannot come on radio and start abusing people. A true politician cannot laugh at people for being poor or weak or ignorant. A true politician who is an intellectual, or what we call a philosopher, works for the welfare of the people. So now, I did my survey some weeks back. I was talking to what they call educated. I'm using that word consciously because the concept is also misused. Educated people think that when you have a PhD, you are educated. When you have a master's, you are educated. You are highly educated. When you have a degree, no, you are just
Mr. Birija, before you explain that, going back to that word elite,
yes.
in political vocabulary in Uganda right at the moment, there is the famous word mafia. Can that be equated?
Elites are mafias.
Mafia.
Elites are bariaki. Elites are liars. Elites are manipulators. So mafia summarizes what
That
elites
group.
are. you get me?
So whoever is using this word mafia, they are using it correctly.
But then they say Uganda's elites have betrayed us. But elites essentially are meant to betray the majority.
But
Yes, so
an elite with that explanation can argue that they are simply capitalist and
No.
they are taking opportunities as they come.
I will also come to that.
Okay.
You think capitalism really favors people?
It doesn't. It doesn't, but it's a form of, what is it a form of?
Look here. In the 21st century, intelligence governance, it pokes holes in capitalism as a failed system, which
true.
has betrayed people.
Yes, yeah.
It also pokes holes in the communist socialist system, which has failed people. But we have a hybrid system, which we would call social democracy, like the brand of Singapore, the Singaporean method.
Or the Scandinavian countries. I think
Yes.
they employ this very well.
Fantastic, which actually cross-pollinates the positives from both sides and brings out a hybrid system of ideology. You get me?
Yes.
So capitalism is there to favor those who own capital. Actually, it is elitist. You get me? And it encourages ignorance. We shall be talking about that, how it is. And these days we talk about alternative economy. We no longer talk about capitalism or communism. There's alternative economy. And the problem is not scarcity. The problem is distribution. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
So
yes,
people
yes.
have now to understand concepts properly if they are going to, that's what we are talking about, change of mindset. So do we understand what we mean by politics? Do we understand what we mean by civility? Do we understand what we mean by being human? Do we understand what is meant by constitution? Now, if you ask the Bunyoro, what is their constitution? These are not abstract words. They are simply words which means who belongs to Bunyoro, how many groupings make up Bunyoro, what resources do Bunyoro have, how do Bunyoros manage the resources. That's what Bunyoro's constitution is. You get me? And then lastly, okay, let me not go ahead. Do you have any question to ask?
I think we might get in some of our other panelists to comment on what you've said so far in terms of mindset and political skills and how they view this on the ground, because these are politicians on the ground talking to the people. How do they view the voters, or how do they view themselves in terms of mindset? We will start with Mr.
If you don't mind, can I summarize before they chip in?
Yes, let's go with you. Summarize.
Okay, first, what is the mindset in Bunyoro? Mindsets can be classified into three. The general will. Do Bunyoros have a mindset that works for the general will, what we call the common what? Good. Do they have a clear vision of where they are and where they want to go, or the Bunyoro they aspire to have? Or is everybody for himself? That's one category of mindset, general will. The mindset which talks about the general what? Will. Yeah. The general will power, because power means ability to be involved in decision making, ability to set agenda for what you want, and ability to control thoughts. That's what power means. So do we have that general willpower? Can we come together and stand? Are we ready to collectively stand and die for it until we achieve it? That's one. Two, there is what we call will to power. Will to power means, do we have individuals who stand for issues that are above, over and above their limited interests? In other words, if I plant a tree when I'm 80 years, I know I will never sit under the shade, but the generation to come will sit under it. So, do we have such a people who have will to power? They want power not to dominate, not to control, but to ensure success for everybody. Do we have such a category? Those are the two categories of mindsets. The third mindset is will to survive. That's the most dominant. Will to survive is people who want power for utilitarian sake. They are utilitarians. They hold the utilitarian philosophy. Ndiamuki. Ukwenda obusobozi nukuo ndiye mukintu. Those are the people, the mafia group you are talking about. They have the crude philosophy of consuming what we call primitive accumulation. Put him in an office, he will sell all public properties that are put to him in trust. Put him in an office, Bugoma will be in danger. All the lands of BUNYORO will be in danger. All state what? All estates that belong to the kingdom will be in danger, or the government will be in danger. The treasury will run empty. Those are the people who have will to survive. They are short-termists. They are Philistine, happy, contented with what they have. If he steals maybe from the prime minister's office, from the president's office, and builds storied buildings, he's satisfied. Even if those surrounding the building are in poverty, they are swimming in poverty. That doesn't matter. So there is that will to survive. Survivors. They don't work. They are lazy. They are elitist. They are corrupt. They are greedy. They are manipulators. They are liars. Are you seeing that?
Yes, yes.
Those are the ones who have a mindset of will to do what? To survive. Baliati, Ndiamuki, the mafias. So those are the three categories. So the question is, where does BUNYORO lie? Do we have elites whom we have taken for rulers? Do we have citizens who are idiots, who don't care? Because mindset of an idiot, he wants to be alone. He wants everything for himself. Two, tribesmen, tribes people want only things for their group. They are exclusive. They are isolated. They are hostile to other people. Those are tribes people. Then citizens are responsible. They care for everybody's welfare. So where is our mindset? Where do we belong? That's the question.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's get our panelists in. In that, I think we lost Godwin. Well, Mr. Geoffrey Beeraheru, what's your comment on what Mr. Birija has discussed so far in terms of mindset and political skills?
And where does he think BUNYORO is?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And once again, it is a privilege for me to be here to discuss this important topic concerning mindset and political skill. First of all, I do appreciate Mr. Birija, because what he's saying is not that he's being theoretical, but I've seen him practically do that. As I earlier on told you, that we had a very bad mindset around this place concerning the education system, such that people knew that for you to succeed in education, you must go to Kampala. And there was an exodus of people who would always move from schools, going from Hoima, from Masindi, going to Kampala for better education. And some of us who were poor, we could only afford to go in the schools within BUNYORO. I got a first grade in Kitara Secondary School, which is in Hoima. And in those days, to be able to go to the university, you'd need a very good A-level school. And there was none in BUNYORO to handle sciences especially. And I wanted to do mathematics. And I decided to go into one school in BUNYORO. That was Kabalega Secondary School. By that time, someone who was also poor, and he was ahead of me in O-level, he had got 9 in 6, a very good superb grade. But now me, I got a first grade, and I got 18. And I was going to Kabalega to do sciences, and he had also gone to Kabalega to do science. What happened? He failed. 9 in 6 failed. Now, I looked at myself, the one with 18, almost double. So it is also first grade. It was like I'm also going to fail. But good enough, I managed to get the points that took me to the government sponsorship in Makerere University. And it was a miracle. But when we came back, we wanted to change the education system in BUNYORO. And we changed our mindset. And let me tell you the words Mr. Birija has used. He put them into practice. He educated me. I told these ideas to some people and they would laugh at me. But those who accepted them, the schools are doing very well. And on the mindset, of course, it is very broad because it depends on which direction you are looking at it. I will use very local examples because me, I'm local. I've been in the village. I'm a village person. And again, I'm educated. So I can use both examples. Now, when you look at a report of a kid after his performance, imagine if he has 25% average and he's the first in class. You can easily even make a party if you are looking at it from the position side of it, that he's the first in the class of 100 kids, but his average is 25. And you can imagine that maybe the last one has an average of 1. And you will see maybe a woman jubilating and calling for a party that my kid is the best. But when you look at the average side part of it and you analyze it, you realize that actually his performance is very good. Our mindset in the here, specifically in the political part of it, I'll be looking at it in terms of the average. I'll not be looking at it in terms of the position. And people who look at it from the position part of it, they really get it wrong. And in terms of the mindset, it is a very complex thing. So I will not say it is a poor mindset in other areas, but in terms of politics, where we shall measure on, I would say it is not very good in terms of the average. And in terms of the ruling party, which gets over 80%, 70% in terms of votes from this place, they would look at it as being very good because they are looking at it as a positional part of it. Someone would say we are the one, we actually in position number 1 in terms of performance, like in terms of voting for the ruling party. But if you look at the mindset of the people in other fields, like struggling to work, they have a very good mindset. And it could be a survival sort of, but they really have a good mindset towards work. They are very hospitable people, very welcoming. In case you have a problem, for example, if you have lost your way, and you try to ask someone, and maybe he doesn't know what you are actually asking, you may be surprised when this person becomes part of the problem to look for the solution. This is the type of people here. That's in terms of the social aspect part of it. But when it comes to the political aspect, this mindset of our people has been corrupted and it has been confused. First of all, it was confused by the colonialists, because by the time they came, they found that a very well organized society politically, a very well organized society economically, a very well organized society socially, and then it was brought into confusion. Of course, you are aware of the battles and the resistance against colonialism by our people, and you could have heard about Kabalega in particular. And this Bunyoro we are talking about is a state. It is not like maybe when he was describing a tribe. Actually, you cannot practice tribalism in Bunyoro, because Bunyoro is a state which joined Uganda 58 years ago. Now, because of that mindset, they were put into confusion. They were a very well organized society. For example, it is only of recent that we got national IDs in Uganda. But the Bunyoro state had national IDs. They are called Empako. And whenever you would meet a person and ask him, Empako yawe ni woha, and once you would see that he cannot identify himself with Empako, then you would automatically know that this is not a citizen of this country. And we would go ahead and even have clans to be able for proper governance of our people. Now, politically, why do we have a very bad mindset? I'm saying I'm looking at it from the average part of it. I'm not looking at it in terms of the position. I'm looking at it in terms of the average. And if I meet someone who is going to say that politically we are very okay in terms of our mindset, you would be looking at it in terms of the position. So I'm saying this mindset politically was put into confusion by the colonialists. And then later on, we went into joining Uganda as a state. Of course, for the good of the country and for its unity, the kingdoms were abolished for the good of the country. And in terms of the country and creating unity, I would use the word, okay, they were suspended. And I would look at this suspension as being viable and good for the unity of the country, because it was causing a lot of conflict. Of course, you know, the Uganda situation and other places, the conflict that would have been there if these were not suspended for some time. And that one put them into confusion, because we went, the Bunyoro state, I would use the word Bunyoro state, and so that you can be able to know that this is not a tribe, because there are many people from different places, and once they come, once you acquire a pet name, then you become a citizen of Bunyoro state. So that confusion, then we transitioned into Uganda. And when we came into Uganda, we also got into trouble, including even this current regime, which has also caused some political confusion. Look at this confusion, for example. Immediately at the beginning of 1986, people were told politically that multi-party system is very evil, wicked, very bad. And this was well propagated, and people were told that political parties are very bad. They would name them, and they would attribute all the evils, and they would associate them with multi-party system. Within a short time, the same people were told, look here, we need to go back into multi-party system. And then we accepted, the people accepted to go into multi-party system. But then the top leadership were not ready to allow the political parties to freely operate. And because of that, it causes a lot of confusion. Now, these other people in other political parties, they were given names of swine, they were given names of enemies, and all that creates, it confuses the mindset. The point I'm trying to make is that if I look at the political mindset of our people, I look at it from the sympathetic point of view, and I say, look here, these people have been confused. But then still, I go back to Birija and I say, what he did in education, we are able to change it. I want you to look at that we have the capacity to remove the confusion. And that's why the concept of Okufudika comes in. Okufudika means you become assertive. You tell people exactly what you want. So our mindset was confused, for example, into multipartyism. And the people were told multiparties, other parties, all those people are enemies. For example, my friend Godwin, when he appears with that cap, to some people it may look as if it is the real problem. They look at him as an enemy. They look at him as a problem. And it only comes from the leadership that has confused the people. I want you to get that mindset. The point I'm trying to build on is that our mindset politically has been confused. And those who have been confusing this mindset are the politicians. For example, the current government. They restored, for example, the kingdoms, but under a cultural setup. Of course, previously, this was a kingdom, as I've told you, it was a real state. Later on, they were abolished. Later on, something else is restored, and it is a cultural institution by constitutional powers, by constitutional definition. But these people don't know what you are talking about because their system was different. You are bringing something different, and it causes confusion. And it is not supported because in some other areas, especially where the current president comes from, he's not really, he has not encouraged these cultural institutions to take place, which means if we are supporting these cultural institutions in another place, it could be a hypocritical sort of support. It is not real. And as a result of that, it causes confusion. Like I've told you, in the multi-party system, if you don't allow political parties to do their constitutional liberty, so that they can be able to do their work effectively, and then you use security institutions to harass them. In the eyes of the people, they see confusion. They continue to remember your word that you said these political parties are wicked, political parties are bad. Anybody who is on the other side is a competitor and a problem to the country. So that is how I look at the mindset of our people in terms of confusion. And the task ahead of us is to remove the confusion, to remove the confusion that has been created for a long time. 58 years of independence, but it has been 58 years of political confusion, as I've elaborated in terms of the multi-party system, in terms of removing the original system of governance of the Bunyoro state, and then you replace it with a republic, and this republic is not running according to the constitution. You of course, you know, we had a coup, and then later on we had an election, and then later on someone went to the bush and said this election was rigged, and then people said really rigging is very bad. How do you carry out an election and it is rigged? And everybody put his weight to support the people who were on the bush fighting against election rigging. Now, when they come into power, what do we see? We see a combination of rigging and robbery. And it is even within the political party itself, even within the ruling party. And then someone gets politically confused. Of course, I'm not saying I'm confused. That's why I'm able to show you that no. It is bad, because those who are still confused, they must be helped to see the confusion. You will soon see some people who will be saying maybe there's no confusion, there's no political, the mindset is very okay. And I still look at them in terms of having that problem, that they are still in the confusion. They still have that ignorance bliss, and they need to be helped. But you must also understand the situation in which they are in. So as a result of that, people have developed a mindset that politics is bad. Like Honorable Birija was saying, if you look at politics, right from creation, When God created man in Genesis chapter 1, if you read in Genesis chapter 1, those of you who are used to the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, he said actually go and dominate the world. Domination means rulership. Go and dominate the lakes, the fish in the sea, the animals, the plants. Look after the garden. All that was politics. He was trying to say be in charge. And his government that is in charge of all these activities of the state, and politics cannot be looked at as being evil. But the mindset around, because of the confusion that has surrounded the politics, then they end up saying politics is bad, politicians are liars. And actually, if you critically look at the individuals, they could be actually liars. But anyway,
thank you, Mr. Sorry to interrupt you there. Before I go further, I want to point out some of the comments on our Facebook feed. In your introduction, you said you are independent Omufudiki. So
yes.
By your being independent, does that relate to your explanation that you can't find a political party that matches your ideology, or what's happened there? Why are you independent?
I'm independent, of course. As I've told you, my concept of Omufudiki, to be assertive, I don't see myself being in the ruling party and then getting to be assertive, really. Because look at this. You will be taken in for example, in Kionkwanzi for
orientation.
Orientation, and you look very funny to begin bringing up things that are contrary to the people, to the majority. For example, if I had gone to the 10th parliament, these people agreed to change the constitution, especially on the age limit. But I can be very clear to you in broad daylight that I would vote no to the age limit.
That would mean maybe there's a space for you in one of the other political parties in the opposition side.
That's where when of course you look at, I would admire, I admire, I'm not saying I'm carrying the ticket of any party, but I think I admire Auntie, that party of Mugisa Muntu. So I can't say I'm completely independent. I must confess that I admire. I don't know, but previously I've been in, before I joined active politics of wanting an elective position, I was in NRM.
Okay.
And NRM, and but now I'm currently independent, Mufudiki, assertive, and that assertiveness may not be very palatable in a particular political setup, especially where some ideas are predetermined and they cannot allow a flow discussion. I know the dangers and the limitations of that. And by the way, Omufudiki is not like you are going to be aggressive. It is different from being aggressive. It is like I illustrated to you that when you want to sit somewhere and someone is seated badly, you can tell him extend.
Not to be blatant. Allow me to stop you there for a minute. Then we will speak to Godwin.
Okay.
Angalia. But before I speak to Godwin, let's unmute him first because he had a bit of background noise. But yes, there's a comment by Mubez. Let me find it.
If you can allow me, Ivan.
Yes.
I wanted to chip in just on a few things so that we don't deviate from the theme.
Hold on a minute. Let me read a comment by Mzee Kambeja, who was replying to Tibaingana Fred. He said, our people in Bunyoro need to be educated. Poverty, ignorance, tribalism, oppression, and corruption have made our people to be scared. They don't know their rights. Some of our people are scared of being told the truth. Museveni has destroyed Bunyoro. And Sam Mugisa replies to him saying, how has it been destroyed? There is a lot in terms of socio-economic transformation in Bunyoro region, quality of life, and the average of an average person in Bunyoro has greatly improved. Household incomes have increased. The mindset should be positive. So Mugisa Samo thinks mindset should be positive in Bunyoro. Muzee Kambeja thinks otherwise.
That is interesting. Does it, do we allow was Sam directing the comment to me?
No, I think it was a comment on what you had explained before. It was all about the mindset.
Okay, now let me respond if you want.
Yes, please.
I want to thank my brother Omufudiki for laboring to tell us exactly what the mindset of Bunyoro is. But I want to put it, since this is an intellectual discussion, and we want everybody who gets information here to take it back to the people. Personally, my brother Omufudiki Abooki, if you haven't got nominated yet, I will encourage you to find the party. Good enough, you say that you are an ally of
admirer.
An admirer of General because politics by definition is a collective game. It's a community game. Independence, to me, and the way, not even me, but fundamentally, and if you look at the meaning of the word politics, polai, many, it's not a one man's game. It is achieved through cooperation, collective action, common conflicts and compromise and consensus. So whoever does it in isolation, independently, is gravitating towards anti-politics, which we call idiotic politics. Because an idiot isolates himself. I'm not meaning that my brother is doing that, but I would like to campaign for you strongly when you belong to a group and with the shared ideology. Secondly, education is a political institution. If you want, I'm referring you to Professor Bertrand Russell, who explains very well. The work of education is principally nothing but political what? Institution. It trains us to be responsible people in society. What does education do? Education is an aspect of enculturation, or trying to train somebody to fit in the culture of the community, culture of the nation. Education trains us in the common good. Common good aspects of ethos. Ethos means character. Character that recognizes and appreciates the common good, things which you do together. Education prepares somebody in the practical, with the practical knowledge of the history and precedents of a society, and then puts you in a position of having practical wisdom. That if I steal money which is meant for the hospital, and tomorrow I'm taken to the same hospital when I stole the money meant for the drugs and so on, am I really a wise person? You are a stupid person. So common good means collective action. Tacitly or indirectly or directly, politics, education is about politics. Then Omufudiki was talking something, the trap which colonialists put us in, of compartmentalizing, trying to put issues of society in compartments. That's where we went wrong. He was saying that some people really have very good mentality. Those in public offices, civil servants, they really work hard. You can't segregate or put issues of society into compartments, because politics is collective. When we talk about politics, we are meaning education, we are meaning Education is politics. Economics is the politics. What does economics do? To produce scarce commodities and distribute them. I hear the other day people were asking, challenging Bobby Wine that he doesn't know fiscal policy. Fiscal policy simply means collecting taxes to deliver services and manage the taxes to deliver services. Roads, schools, hospitals, bridges, and so on. That's what fiscal policy is about. Monetary policy is the supply of money so that we may distribute things, and that's politics. Where do those ideas come from? From the cabinet, from ideology, from politics. Either capitalism, socialism, mixed economy, social democracy. That's what we mean by politics. So economics is politics. When you talk about culture, what does culture mean? Culture, it's good that you have talked about the Genesis. Genesis orders man to go and cultivate the land. What does cultivate mean? Cultivate from Greek, from Latin, cholera, or from French, cultus, means to care, to look after, to raise, to rear. So the word culture means to rear, to look after. Then if you look at the Marxian ideology, culture has two aspects: material aspects, that is spiritual aspects, education, administration, religion, ideology, science, all those things which we don't touch, which are spiritual, which are knowledge aspects, are what we call culture. Then these ideas like language and so on come from the base which is environment. Environment. Mugungu from Birija has language which is related to pastoralism, which is related to fishing. That's how his language develops. So culture is economic. Culture is environment. A pastoralist is called a muhuma because he looks after what? He looks after cattle. And agriculturists will also be called omlimi, associated to agriculture. So you cannot talk of culture and remove what? Economy, and remove activities we do, and remove laborers. This is where they have caused us confusion. Politics is a sum total of all activities that we do for the welfare of society. So now these people came to confuse us, and we are still getting confused. Even people with the PhDs, people who are teachers, are still using the outdated or anachronistic division of things and saying that there is a cultural aspect, there is political aspect, there is economic aspect, there is a religious aspect, there is a cultural king. That is sheer empty ideology. We should conceptualize these issues properly to know. That's why now there's confusion. A civil servant thinks that he's not political. Because he's constructing a district road, that's not a political issue. And yet he's implementing fiscal policy. Are you seeing that? A doctor thinks that because he treats people he's not political. So he's not concerned about what is done in parliament. That is where the ignorance comes from. That's why I've been telling you that people have gone to school, they have graduated, but they remain illiterate. They don't understand concepts. When we talk about social media, people think that social media is for people to display themselves, to show how many buildings and so on. Social media is a political tool which is there to promote deliberative democracy, deliberative politics, where people can use the media to hold government accountable, where people can use the media to coalesce ideas which concern all of them. So finally, what is the mindset of Bunyoro? The mindset of Bunyoro, from my experience, is the mindset of identity crisis. People don't know what they are up to. How? People do not understand what politics is. Even many of us who hold degrees and so on do not appreciate or understand what it means and how it impacts on our lives. People have apathy. That's the mindset of apathy. Being kwatireki. Those things do not concern me. Birija. People are submissive. A submissive attitude. People are consumed by fear. And divisions which are coming up are making us tribal. We are getting tribal mentalities. Those who control have become elitist, selfish, egoistic, and so on. That's the mentality I see that we have, because education has not acted as a political institution. Lastly, what does a nation mean? Because Bunyoros should know that they are a nation. The word nation comes from Latin, nasi. Nasi means to be born. To be born. And once you are born in an area, you are cultured. Cultured means to inhabit a particular area. When you inhabit another area and learn the norms and activities and the rituals of that area, ethos of that area, you reason in the wisdom of that area, you are ready to protect the wealth of that area, you are educated by the aspects of that area, then you are a nationalist. You become patriotic. Patria from father. You care about your fatherland. Bungoma is being sold, everybody would be in arms now, but everybody now is in hiding. Our intellectuals prefer talking from WhatsApp. You can't even see them articulating issues on Facebook where they can be seen. I'm seeing Milton Waviona is here. You are welcome. When we were meeting in 2009, Milton mentioned this thing when we were in Rukurato. I was by then the spokesperson of the leaders of Bunyoro. Milton said, what Chairman Birija is saying is right. Tosobora kweterere nduru oyebutikire. I still remember that word. It's over 11 years now, but Milton was a member of cabinet of Rukurato, representing the youth by then. He made that statement. So we are preferring to talk from WhatsApp groups in hiding. We complain about problems in hiding in rooms, but we don't talk about the problems of Bunyoro. Because we are consumed by submissiveness, we are consumed by fear, we don't know that our rights, we are supposed to be political. And to be political is to be responsible. To be a citizen is to hold government accountable, is to have obligations to act for the welfare of the people. That's the mindset we have. Fear, identity crisis, submissiveness, a few people holding Bunyoros as captives. Once is an MP permanent. If they is in the kingdom, others don't matter. That elitist mentality is what we need to change. That's how I summarize. For some to say that Bunyoros are happy, I'll come to that one later. It's good enough that this program is serialized. We are going to talk about what development means. Does growth really mean development? Does creation of infrastructure mean development? The issues of GDP are now outdated. We are now talking about GNH, gross national happiness. What is the gross national happiness of Bunyoro? You are talking about the accumulation of basket of goods and so on. That is now anachronistic. Those are outdated things.
Okay.
Bunyoros don't eat raw.
Mr. Birija, before we lose Godwin again,
yes,
because I think we've touched on about 3 subjects without having a comment from Godwin. We touched the mindset and political skills, and it's still noisy around Godwin. Godwin, what do you have to comment about the issues that have been discussed so far?
First of all, moderator, I'm sorry with the noise from my neighbors. My hands are tight.
Be a good neighbor and don't complain.
Yes.
I think we can hear you well.
Exactly. But first of all, I thank you for including me in this talk show. And I thank Chairman Birija for articulating as if he's on ground. It's like as if he's in one of the village from Bulisa. The mindset we have in Bunyoro is just planted. It was planted by people. Again, it is planted by current dictators. He has elaborated very adequately, mainly on general will of power and will to survive. I'm a member of the party. That's I'm a member of the political party. New. We actually, as the leaders, I saw the leadership about influencing. That probably if you are a leader, you take people's agenda, you take community agenda, you help society, you influence society. But now, as he has elaborated, people about not about Bunyoro. They are not about the challenges of Bunyoro. They are not about people in Bunyoro. Our leaders are about, they are concerned about their individuals. They are concerned about their pocket. Tubakurura bino byansonga za Bunyoro bikawaho. Bakurura ndi entya, ngemerenta, office yange, maintaining renta. How can I be a next? How can I retain this office? How can I keep MPship for 20 years, for 30 years? And this is the biggest problem. To me, I call this Christmas or business because they are not serving the people. They are serving their families, serving themselves. So, Konsongenu, it's good. That's why even in our internal life of the parties, me, I'm a member of opposition, we have failed to come together like how Senegal did in 2000. They formed an alliance and they won election. Even Kenya in 2002, under National and Rainbow Coalition, they won election. What happened in Malawi, Mali, Madagascar? Here it cannot happen. Why? Because we are about to tell about changing the leadership in the country, like we have been having by-election in this country. When somebody has been supported in by-election, that particular candidate will move the whole region with an agenda of identifying candidates, with an agenda of working for. Because we have people here, like in 2012, our king went to parliament. Imagine, to petition, to demand for his oil royalty, oil revenue royalty, is 10%. And all MPs ran out. Even if there is a concern, like in Urisa, there is a concern of floods, there is a concern of low compensation payment. Even members of parliament are silent. Members from Bunyoro, they cannot raise this matter to table in parliament. We have concern of Goma forest, one of the biggest forests in the country. It has been taken for sugar plantation. Bugoma is under Kikube. We have MPs from Kube. They cannot come together for that particular cause. So Bunyoro yaitu eyemereire me mindset eri nti omuntu akwenda afuneka aba amazire. And this has affected the whole country. By the way, it's not only Bunyoro. It is an idea. It is a game planted by dictators. Because before we were together, we were moving together. Bunyoro, Angalia, were together, we were one people. They are working for the coverage. But it's not the same scenario we have here. This is completely different. It's about Uyomala Kiaye, Akatita Kalia, na Manya is over. The rest is not mattering. So, as I continue, it's good that in the political side, we are going to election where this mindset, as I said, it is mainly with class of people. The youth are being civilized. we actually know what to do. In the next election, we have 70.6 million voters. 2.3 voters are fresh, and these are youth. 8.4 female. Since the number, as regards to number of population, the youth are the biggest number. We can remove this mindset. We can have leaders as long as these younger people organize and come together for a common goal. Organize and come together for the good of this country. And this can happen. So elders can have been influencing, but we can a bit forego and go with these young people. Because for the we still have future. We still have a lot to do. We still have coming from Bunyoro, and we work for Bunyoro. Because Bunyoro, actually, we need to take a side. We must take as the problem. Neutrality or silence to collect to the rural. We must have a push strong program. As regards to Bunyoro, we are going with this candidate. As leaders,
we have to apologize for the quality of the line from Godwin. It's not very clear, but we had to try to let him have his say. Godwin, try again. Keep talking so we see if this line will get better. We have nothing to do. I think it's the quality of the internet from your side.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, as Bunyoro must have a side. We must take a position. Neutrality or silence will help Terminator to grab what belongs to us. Will help thieves to steal land, to steal Bugoma, to steal our resources in our absence. And the only way we can do it, the first step we have is to participate in an election, in 2021 election. That will be the first time. That will be the first chance we have. Because the number, as regards to the number, we have the number and we can influence. Otherwise, Tulera, Bugoma will go. Our land in Birija for oil will go. The oil royalty we shall remain not knowing how much so far they have collected. So we must take position. We seriously need to take position on issues of leadership in this country. In Bunyoro, socially we are not only having a mindset, leadership, but actually public service delivery. Recently, someone died because there was no light. He died while giving birth in Birija. We buried her last week. We need to be consistent. Even these leaders, doctors, we need to call for accountability. Omuntu akuba dokita akora dokita waenda hapo ataina muntu akaguza accountability. The referral hospital negaruka ya government because there is no one who is influencing. Citizens are not minding about what is happening in hospital. They are not minding about what is happening in governmental schools. They are not minding about what's government in other sectors like cotton growing and others. So unless we come and start asking for accountability and start being responsible, that's when also we shall have good leadership. That's when the services will be ready for that. Otherwise, thank you, moderator, for doing this.
Thank you so much, Godwin Kasigwa, Angalia. Once again, we can't control the quality of the line from the other side, so we apologize on behalf of Godwin for the poor line. That is the internet service from Bulisa. So we can only be happy that Godwin is here with us sharing his ideas. So thank you so much. Now, obviously, this is a political show, so some people on the Zoom, they really wanted us to go in direct and attack not attack, I think attack is the wrong word, but to tackle the political issues of Bunyoro and the electorate, which we are. But I think the way we started it was also nice because we have to understand what politics is before we delve into it. And the Mr. Birija handled that preamble well. But I will go ahead and read some of the messages. This is a message from Titus Gerald. This is in the Zoom. He says, I feel we are not dealing with the real political challenges facing Bunyoro. I think facing Bunyoro issues. Sorry. The political challenges facing Bunyoro. Issues limited political space in Bunyoro. Issues of service delivery by even our local politicians. Sectarianism in awarding jobs, corruption in local governments. Fortunate says, for Bunyoro, the issue is lack of confidence by us, the Bunyoro. We don't believe in ourselves, and we think we are powerless. This is also exacerbated by the disunity and intolerance in our nation. Okay. Poverty and wealth affects the mindset. Poor people will always have no say. They will easily be bribed. Empower people. So that's some of the comments in the group chat at Zoom.
Can I respond to those ones?
Yes, please.
I'll begin with Fortunate. Fortunate, thank you very much for that question. I would like to refer you back to my...
Godwin, I'm going to meet you because the party continues. Say happy birthday to the neighbor, but let's mute you for a time being.
Lack of confidence means that lack of self-belief, lack of ability to be involved in decision-making, lack of ability to control agenda, lack of ability to control thoughts, your ideology. And that is the state of powerlessness. That's what is lack of what? Confidence. I think when I started, I said that Bunyoro is in a sense of what? Hopelessness, resignation, and fatalism. Is that not what I said? That's purely lack of confidence. And maybe we used different synonyms, but otherwise, that's what I meant. Then I summarize and say there's apathy, being non-concerned. There is submissiveness, sense of fear. There's then those who are withdrawn, who have tribal and idiotic mentality. People who are tribal and idiotic don't allow collective activity. Elitism means exploiting others, undermining them. Elitism is purely associated with corruption, manipulation of people. By the way, the word we call corruption does not mean embezzlement alone. Embezzlement is just a simple aspect of corruption. Embezzlement, corruption, the word corruption comes from Latin or French. Corp means together. Rupture means breaking. So corruption means breaking. You break institutions. You break traditions. You divide people who were together, make them into small principalities, so that they start looking at themselves as different. They can't work together. You have corrupted them. You come to the judiciary. Government is supposed to work under the principle of separation of power. You combine them and monopolize all the power. That's corruption. The constitution is supposed to operate according to limited governance system. You destroy it. That's corruption. Corruption is blackmail. Corruption is extortion. Corruption is outright stealing of money. Corruption is controlling people through fear. Corruption is distorting traditions and institutions of governance for private gain. So in summary, the formula given by Professor Klitgard about corruption means that corruption is equal to power plus discretion. Discretion means freedom of using the power the way you want, minus accountability. Power plus discretion minus accountability is what is corruption. So people have a narrow perception of corruption as meaning stealing money. That is theft. That's misappropriation of funds. Corruption is a much bigger institution. Cop means together, rupture means to break. You break traditions, you break society, you break institutions for private gain so that you may dominate, cause confusion. So that's what corruption means. Then, secondly, Titus, my friend, is saying that we are not dealing with real issues touching Bunyoro. First of all, this is like a preamble to what we are going to discuss. And we are backgrounding it, or we are giving a panoramic view, the general perspective. And then we begin normally from the narrow, then go to the specifics. You can't begin with the specifics and then go to the wider aspects. You must background, give a panoramic view, give a general perspective, then come to the specifics. So when I say corruption is destroying us, there is apathy. Apathy cannot lead to good service delivery. When I say mindset, what do I mean? No good society. A good society has a wrong mindset. Absence of proactive leaders. Leaders are there to set a vision and envision people about service delivery, about economy, about administration. In the absence of them, then there is no service delivery. We are touching the real issues, only that we are backgrounding them. Responsibility means being accountable. Responsibility means accountability. It means answerability. So when you put somebody in charge of an office and is not accountable, that is corruption. That's failure to deliver services. High aspirations, that is when you don't have a vision with which you envision people, when you don't have goals, you don't have a strategy, you cannot know how to mobilize resources and how to distribute resources. So high aspiration is a mindset. Low aspiration is a mindset. When we talk of courage, courage means, and it's a noble action. It means following the golden rule. The golden mean means that you are not an extremist. You are not an extremist. A courageous person is a noble person, is a honorable person, a person with integrity. If I make a mistake and I'm a leader, I resign. How many Ugandans have that courage? Resignation is not a failure. It's an act of exercising integrity and showing that I'm courageous. You understand? When I argue with Angalia, I argue with Mr. Beeraheru, and he defeats me, I say, you have won. Thank you very much. We embrace each other. That is courage. Cowards are reckless people. Cowards don't debate. Cowards fight people. Cowards muzzle people. A state that is having terror is full of cowards. You understand? A state that muzzles people and fears information is a coward state. You understand? So, do we have a society that is courageous? Uganda is full of cowards. They can't stand. A coward commits suicide when he's faced with crisis. When the person commits suicide, he's not a courageous person. When a person murders opponents, he's not a courageous person. He's a coward because he can't withstand challenge. So that's understand courage properly. There is reckless courage. Go and read Aristotle about courage and as a noble, as a virtue. Courage as a virtue. It's an intellectual aspect. Intellectuals debate. Cowards don't debate. So then we talk about adaptability. When you are a flexible person, you have a very good mindset. Let me give you an example like Bunyoro. Bunyoro, you know very well, Mukimanyire, we are only 400,000 voters. Then And you know very well that naturally people will have affiliation, political affiliations based on nationality. Now, many of you Bunyoros leave the objective truth. You start saying, for example, a party tandikirwa Muganda. Bagandas are 17% of Uganda's population. That means there are above 10 million voters in Uganda. You are only 400 voters. Because you are rigid. You have a rigid mentality. You will say, Tsakoma Muganda. Then you will collapse with your 400 votes and continue suffering. But an adapted society is very dynamic and has foresight. You would say, okay, if we add our 400 and win federal, then we shall manage our resources alone. Let Uganda get federal, and in the process, we also gain through alliance, through cooperation. That's what we call adaptability, the correct mindset, which is flexible. But mulibia history, bakatunanka, bakatukoraki, kanyagwe Muganda, kakoreki. The Germans almost destroyed Britain. But British greatest investments are in Germany. The Germans cannot afford to deal without Britain. Why are we so parochial? So that's how we remain behind. Then another thing is learn to be strategic. That's a good mindset. A good mindset is always strategic. Strategy does not mean that you are perfect. Strategy means that you use every available opportunity to your benefit. That's the correct mindset. The other one is ability to manage crisis. Hati, to remove opposition, but we are failing to outline those things, to package our minds very clearly. If you are there for opposition, you are failing to package the ideas properly so that they are sellable. A good mindset is an honest mindset. A good mindset is always in a state of awareness. You read, and improve on your ability. So, those issues that have been raised, lack of confidence and so on, I think I've answered them. Lastly, poverty. We have been sold a wrong conception. We have been sold poverty as our problem. Our problem is not poverty. That's another thing I will be talking about when we come to talking about the concept of poverty. If you read from one professor, he has 5 PhDs, I will be talking about it, about Manifesto of the Poor. The capitalists have made us believe that our problem is poverty. Africa is poor because they are poor, because they are poor. You start drawing that vicious cycle. That's not true. Our problem is distribution of accumulated wealth. Let me ask you, Bunyoro. Kuruga tutandika kuva na oil exploration. The government of Uganda has got over $1,000 million from pre-tax, from tax, pre-oil revenue. Over $1 billion US. Bunyoros are less than or 1 million or 1.4 at max, at most. If only they got 200 million, which Bunyoro would be poor. During Corona crisis here, most of the European countries have just got money from the treasury and given businesses grants, non-payable. Then you get a windfall, money pre-oil revenue, which was given to Ugandan government in form of taxes. And the whole money leaves Bunyoro and it goes. And you also, the day the money reaches Bank of Uganda is when somebody wins a court case and the money is awarded to him. Such a dynamics of the mafias, the way they do those things. The money leaves the treasury and the Bunyoros remain on zero. Then you are busy clapping because you are seeing roads. I will be talking about oil. Omuntu takuteka mu oruseke okagambo gaigahide. Somebody, you are the pot, and he has put in you a straw to suck. The roads are suckers. That's what we call a desaturated economy. Desaturated economy. Outward-looking infrastructure constructed to siphon your resources. creating a satellite economy, which I'll be talking about, creating what we call a rentier economy, mbapangisa ebyobugaiga bwanyu to outsiders who can extract them. Then the politicians get the resources and use them. They don't care about you. And you are seeing beautiful bridges, beautiful roads, beautiful what and climbing. Have they built better roads than what the colonialists built? A colonialist constructed even tarmac, which lasted for over 100 years. But hours the day they make them today, tomorrow they are cracking. Eh? What is that you want us to celebrate that you are saying is visible? So that politics of visibility, of showing explicit things that are done, when actually in reality, invisibly you are being destroyed, is what we should stop understand. How many people are happy? What I said, the gross national happiness, not the gross domestic, not gross domestic product. The economics of statistics is outdated. We are now talking about economics of welfare. How many Bunyoros are happy? That's the question. How many Bunyoros have been displaced? What we call rentier space. Next, by the way, because Bunyoros are so eager, they want to know about this thing, infrastructural development and so on. I think, Ivan, next time, let us discuss the impact of oil in Bunyoro, vis-a-vis Bunyoro and Uganda. That should be the next. So what I'm trying to say is that when there is a rentier economy, there is what we call principal agent problem. Those in government who discuss on your behalf and those managers of oil companies share everything for their own interests. And the owner of the resources remains outside. The agents are the ones who benefit. The owners of resources don't benefit. We shall analyze that one. The agent principal problem. We have the rentier problem. The economy is being rented out, and those ones are getting rent and surplus and sharing it. And then you are busy celebrating that they have built for us hospitals, they have built for us roads, they have built for us what? We shall do the statistics. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen Birija. As we are coming towards the last 10 minutes of the program, I will ask the panelists, Mr. Beeraheru, and
don't you have? Can't you do some fairness and allow somebody, one or two from outside who wants to talk? I can see Esther Nkuba.
Which one?
I can see Infinix. I don't know who it. I can see Titus is there. They can call. I can see Robert Mugabe Kusima. I can see Kwesi Julius, Moses Kadogoli. You can chip in 3 minutes, 4 minutes. We should be.
Who wants to chip in?
1 hour and allow people to discuss.
Because I don't know who they are.
There's Esther Nkuba.
Okay, somebody's coming.
There is Moses Kadogoli. There is
I think Moses
Joseph,
was trying to say something.
Nyakato. There is Kwesi Julius. There is Charles Baguma. There is Robert Mugabe. Don't mind whichever political affiliation you belong to. Say what you want. It's an open forum. We debate. And encourage MPs. Encourage our MPs, our politicians, our LOC5s to come for this forum and we discuss.
Okay, Mr. Robert Mugabe Kusima, do you want to say something on the issues discussed today? I think your sound is very, very bad.
Thank you very much. I want to go there. I want to
we can barely hear you. There's a big hum on your side.
Yes, I want to, sorry, issues of technology. I want to thank everybody, especially the panelists and you, the moderator, for this innovation to bring the panelists together to discuss issues of technology. One thing I want to highlight is we have spent a lot of time leaving issues of BUNYORO to be told by third parties. we must be able to tell our own story.
Fantastic.
Our own story is being told by those who don't have the facts, who
Fantastic.
don't understand what we are going through. And in the process, because they are coming with the spirit of volunteerism, they only tell the outside part of it without unveiling the internal challenges that we are facing as Bunyoro. So I'm sure that this program, as we continue with this series, it is going to empower us to tell our own story. And we must start now to tell our own story wherever we are. Whether we are in the political office, whether we are in a professional office, let our story be told. And that's what I have to appreciate from the panelists. Number two is what I wanted to emphasize is we have a generation that is on transition, but there has been no effort to create a generation that is going to stand and speak for Bunyoro. Most politicians have occupied themselves with a spirit of survivalism. As long as a politician is holding an office, they are not willing to build a generation that is going to still stand and tell Bunyoro story. The generation we have, because of survivalism, we have politicians that are preoccupied with timidism. They cannot speak their mind. Like if I pick an example where a king had to walk himself to go to parliament, and yet we have representation across the network. That is the pain that we are looking at. And that pain is coming because there is a generation that is not willing to tell the young generation Bunyoro story. I want to thank you, and I wish, I know that this, what you have started, is going to make us, the young generation, have the boldness, the confidence to tell our story, to stand by our values, irrespective of the circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. Great observation. We are very grateful.
Thank you so much for that contribution, Robert Mugabe Kusima, I think. Yes. So, Mr. Beeraheru Geoffrey Omufudiki, your last word on
Abooki.
Abooki.
Thank you so much. I've been impressed by this program.
Yeah.
And as the Honorable Birija said, we need to look at this, or the whole aspect, in one integral part, not in isolation, politics and economics. That's why I want to talk to other Ugandans, especially the youth. What Godwin was talking about, that we are young generation and we are many, I look at it still as being a very bad mindset.
Exactly.
It is better to look at how to solve all the problems as a whole, not in terms of age. Like I was telling you the story of how Birija helped me to change the education system in Bunyoro. We were young people. I was 26 by that time, and we changed the story. Me personally, I'm independent, but I'm not isolated. It is different to be independent.
I know we are always together. I know. I was just joking.
And because I'm not in isolation, actually, this can result into a political party. If no one buys the ideology of Okufudika, then we can extend it to other regions. Actually, it is being assertive, and you have interests and positions very clearly stated. And I would be very happy if someone told me that, look here, don't even bother to go for nomination, you are an idiot. Then I would do completely, like how Birija said, that it is courage to resign. Because you would say, but here's the situation, we need to be, for example, I'm telling Godwin that, look here, don't look at the youth as in an isolated way. Because, for example, in the 11th Parliament of the Republic of Uganda, most definitely we are going to have deficit budget throughout the 5 years of making those 5 budgets. Now, how is it related to being a youth, or how is it related to being an old person? You must know how you're going to put the resources. Now, another person is going to say, how are you going to bring the Kufudika concept in the deficit budget? And I will tell him, look here, I will operate in a situation like of saying that, please, can you consider Bunyoro region because of some aspect, irrespective of the deficit budget? And I put it in that context. Otherwise, it has been a very good, interesting debate. And next time I will use more Bunyoro. I also know Bunyoro because I have used a lot of English. Some people will think that maybe I'm a foreigner or whatever, but I use a lot of Bunyoro. Hati ni malira nkwenda gamba. Abanyoro tulina kurugwamu ekintu ky'okufootoka kandi n'ekintu kya webale turora buli kasumi koona ngurunde ekintu bya gavumenti ekyekozere rundi nk'enguudo etuyambire buyamba nosana bakuyambire webale kuteeka okola seno muntu baali bataluguudo nasana kwenda kusiima mwebale kola si rundi nyenkya ndabo mu rubagivu ojo ntagichwa ate enteekereza egyo eyina kuhinduka kurugo mu kufuotooka kugenda mu kufudika kandi oli nobaza ekyosemereire kubaza n'okikora nk'oku osemereire kikora. Mukuru Birija webale muno programu enu kandi twijja genda mu maiso aragambire ngu titukubaza nsonga zonyini eza Bunyoro baitu ati nk'okututandikire eyange ngiresere kurungi kufudika bufudika kandi ekyo kiri kintu ky'amaani muno kakuba omuntu akidisimisinga akagamba tikikora nyowe emikono nkusobora kuhanika ningamba hati orabo ina ekiyokora ekibira kya Bugoma kya 20 trillion dekandole ne balekaho kukitema. So I'm saying we need to be assertive and also put ourselves into the context of Uganda as a republic, because we can't work in isolation. For example, we are going to be dealing with deficit budget. We have public debts. We must pay this money. But also Uganda must also be concerned about Bunyoro, that this is a state, and again, it is going to contribute a lot economically, and then we should not be taken for granted. And then we have some people, because Bunyoro is a state, who have come from different areas, and when they come, they become part of us. We are one. We cannot talk of tribalism and maybe removing some people. But when they come, they should also be able to understand that maybe they even acquire a pet name. Even acquiring a pet name, when I called Ateenyi and he responds, the other day he was calling me Ateenyi, I had to labor to say, no, I'm not Ateenyi, I'm a boss.
I've always done that mistake.
No, now that one, if someone comes and he's new and he begins to identify himself with the empower, it really gives us the courage and to be very assertive. Otherwise, I'm very assertive, and I want to look forward to more discussions of this type, and then also speak very clearly, because our political arena is in confusion. But to Mr. Godwin and those other Ugandans, that the mindset of the youth, that they want to be in control, they should be looking at some people who have capabilities within them, not just a particular age limit. Even on us, of course, we have a problem. Some of us who are above 50, maybe politically we have not given a very good example, and that has also contributed to their confusion. The other confusion I was talking about, that even other people are going through confusion, and actually even the use of money in politics, where someone can easily go in for only 2,000, I don't know how much in terms of a pound. If you put it in a pound, it may even refuse to be converted into a pound. But someone may really go and vote basing on that 2,000. But again, it comes on top when there is any constitutional amendment, or when there is an activity that is very important in a nation. You find that envelopes are being used to motivate in such an activity. Instead of using real debates and looking at the good of the nation, then you find that money is being used, and then the lower person down is also confused, and he resorts to getting 2,000, 1,500 for his vote. Otherwise, we are going through that process. But the mindset, remember how I started, that what Birija did in the education sector, we are bringing it into politics, and I know that some aspects of our Bunyoro will be changed. But also I want people to appreciate that when we talk about Bunyoro, Bunyoro is a state, and we are looking at a region, and of course it will be affected by a lot of things concerned. Mr. Birija said we will be talking about oil and the effects of oil. So that's why we come up to mention the word Bunyoro, not in a sectarian approach, but in the form of a region which is going to contribute a particular contribution. And when roads are constructed, it is not a privilege. Someone is not helping me to construct a road because I have paid some taxes to the government and I'm part of the nation. I'm not here in Uganda on anybody's permission. I didn't make an application to be a Ugandan and a Bunyoro. So I'm not on anybody's permission to be here. And even another person who is a Ugandan and maybe a Mnyankore is not on my permission to be in Uganda. Then we must collectively work together. Cooperation, mindset, and then we look at assertiveness. I'm very assertive. By the way, I was in one foreign country and they thought I was a simple person. But one day when I looked at my passport and my work permit, I told them no. And they all went one time. They said, are you from a country where there is Kone? And I said, no.
On that note, we have to close it here. We've really run out of time, but we look forward to having you once again. Like we said before, this show is going to be a weekly show each and every Saturday from 6 p.m. UK time. That is 8 p.m. Ugandan time or East African time. Again, we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much, Mr. Birija, for the concept. Thank you so much, Mr. Beeraheru, for being here. And
Ivan, you didn't allow me to wrap up.
Let me thank Mr. Godwin Kasigwa, who has left the Zoom, but he's still on. So wrap up, I think, in 2 minutes, because we've...
Thank you very much, viewers.
Yeah.
Many viewers seem to be concerned that we are not touching the issue. No, we have touched the issue. We begin from the general. We are going to the specific in the next program. One, mindset determines everything. That politically, our behavior is meek, is weak. Our attitude is bad. We have no political identity. We have no political culture. That's a wrong mindset. We need to change. Second, resources, human resources, material resources can only be protected when you have power. Power to do what? We are powerless in decision making. We are powerless in agenda setting. We are powerless in controlling our thoughts. That's what our problem is. Next, we are going to see, do we have benefits from our resources, the forests, the land, the oil, and so on. Thank you very much, Ivan, for hosting us, and all the viewers for listening to us. This is the first program. We are going to improve on the next one.
Thank you so much, and good night, everyone.
So, Ivan,